Welcome everybody to Regula's tutorial on how to create a specification from a given template. As some of you may know if you have followed our other tutorials or if you're already a user of the platform, Regula is a platform that allows users to specify BIM model requirements using a set of rules describing the expected content of the BIM model and uses this specification to validate BIM models. Now, of course, Regula has a catalog of rules that can be selected to create a specification and also some given templates for those who do not want to create a specification from scratch. Now, let's look at how to create a specification using one of these mentioned templates. As some of you know, this is the homepage of Regula. To create a specification, I can either use the menu on the left, going to the Specify section, and in particular to My Specifications tab, or I can use the Express button here, going directly to My Specifications tab. Now, let me zoom a bit my page so it's easier to look at what I'm doing. In the My Specifications tab, there is a Create a New Specification button. Through this button, I can create a specification from scratch, so using a blank template, or I can use one of the given templates, for example, a template to create a specification related to groups, assemblies, properties, or version compliance. Now, let's try to use the assemblies example and see what happens. As soon as I click on my template, the platform creates a blank, so empty specification, but with a standard description and a standard title. The title is, of course, Assembly Specification Example, and the description is the template one. So this specification defines the structure of one assembly and its components included in an IFC model. And of course, it gives you also the last updated date. Now, to complete my specification, I have to select some rules and I have to associate to these rules a parameters file, so the data requirements file basically. So what I need to do is go on the menu of the specification and click on Edit. As soon as I click on Edit, I can see again my description, some key information such as the date it was last updated on or the date it was created on, and then also the title and description that I can for sure edit. Let's, for example, edit our title, as this is going to be a specification about the turnout panel assembly specification. And of course, the specification describes or defines the structure of a turnout panel, and its components included in the IFC model. Now, going forward, I have to see if the rules that were automatically selected from the template are adequate for what I need. In particular, this template selects already two rules. One is a rule that checks mandatory components are present in the model, in the assemblies, sorry. This rule basically verifies that an assembly of a requested type aggregates at least a number of elements of the requested type. Whereas the other rule checks that the assembly aggregates exactly a given number of components or of elements of the requested type. Now, I can choose to keep both, but in this case, it might be counterproductive because I don't want to check at least, I want to check exactly the number of components, so I can remove the rule. If I want to keep the rule, I can also edit the order if I want the check to be first on exactly the number and then on at least the number. So in this case, I could, for example, change the order of my rules by selecting the ASE3 and putting it on top. Now, in reality, what I want to do is cancel the rule that checks at least a given number because I want exactly a given number. So I will delete it and I will explode, so open the rule that I want to look at the notes. The notes basically give you an explanation of the limit of usage or some details of the usage. In particular, it tells you that when the minimum and maximum number of the elements, of the components, have the same value, in that case, it means exactly the same amount. So we don't have a minimum or maximum number, it's exactly that amount. If the maximum it's empty, it means unlimited. If minimum is empty, it means 0. You can also here associate the data requirements file to your rule. In this case, I already have this one selected from my template and it's correct because it is the file that I want to use. And then I can also take a look at the preview of the body. In particular, you see that given a set of assemblies that are in my data requirements file, that contains, of course, the assembly type, and the minimum maximum of the element components. Then the rule checks that the assembly that I'm looking for exists in the model and that it aggregates exactly that number of components. Okay. Now that I've completed my specification, I can take a look again at its contents, just in case I want to check that it's correct. So in particular, in this case, I can go to the menu and I can click on View. In that case, I cannot modify anything. I can just review again the contents. What is useful here, though, is that I can also review the content of the data requirements file that I associated to my rule. As you can see, in fact, I can show the notes or I can keep them hidden. And if I hover or click over the data requirements file, I can preview the content. So as you see, I have a number of elements here, that like IFC rail, truck element, etc., and their element type. And these are the components of the assembly turnout panel. Okay. And as you can see, I want to have a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 3 IFC rail elements as components. And since the rule checks exactly the type, it means I have exactly 3 or exactly 1 in this case because it's the same, or exactly 2 or exactly 1 or exactly 2, and so on and so forth. Now I can also show the preview of the body of the rule. If I'm not sure what the rule does, again, I can check it. And I can go back to the My Specifications, and in case I want to change it, I can click on Edit. In case I want to delete my specification, I can click on Delete. I can also share my specification with people inside or outside my organization. And you can look at another tutorial another time to see how the sharing option works. So keep in touch with us because soon we will have another tutorial on this. Now, if you want to look at other tutorials on Regula, you can go directly to the Academy with all the tutorials videos from here. So by clicking on this question mark here, you have the tutorials section. It will directly bring you to the Academy on the website. Otherwise, you can, of course, check our YouTube channel and look through the videos on our tutorial playlist. If you have any question, please feel free to keep in touch with us and contact us through our email, which is support@regula.io.